Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal Transfer Show. Joining you every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a fantastic start to your week already. Of course, it is a brand new week. It is Monday and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fresh, which I'm surprised about because last night was something special. But more about that in a second. Good morning to you guys joining us live, of course, in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. And without further ado, I suppose we should say morning. And I hope that StreamYard has been kind today. Black Shine, good morning to you. To Morgie, good morning to Amira. To Clock Orange, we've got Morgie in the chat as well. Fantastic to see. Errol, good morning to you. To Phil, good morning to MJ10, Johan, Carl, Martin, Stevie, Kaiser, Jake, Vlad, Matt G. We've got Carl, Penny Ween, of course. We've got Hawkwind, Jose, and plenty more of you guys joining us in the chat box that I can see as well. Very, very much looking forward to showing you what happened yesterday. I mean, I can show you obviously the image that we've captured, courtesy of a friend of mine taking a brilliant photo. There was more photos that I'm sure I'll upload on different social media platforms, but last night's live event was absolutely fantastic. First of all, massive thank you to everybody who came. It means the absolute world to me. The amount of people that handed stuff in. We've got the Gold Coast Gooners, of course, and that was just a brilliant one, seeing Tom Sable and what he could bring, and all of that stuff. But I think most importantly, I need to kind of make the screen bigger for this. Our good resident friend Morgie arrives with something in his hands. Now you're gonna have to tell me, right, if you think that this is an accurate representation. Your judgments, all right? How about that? How close? I think it's pretty close. I think that obviously he did this before I started my diet, so I'm a little bit trim compared to the image. But yeah, there you go. Golf with the divot and everything. So brilliant stuff. Morgie. Unbelievable, mate. I'm gonna have to find a place for that that's in the most embarrassing spot possible, of course, but amazing. And it was a testament to the people that came, a testament to the community that we've built. We had a couple of frustrating audio issues in the first half, which means the recording of the whole thing is a little bit jumbled. So what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a highlights package. We're hoping to put together like a bit of a best bits of the 2 and a bit hours that we recorded for. So I really look forward to getting that edited and put together so we can put that out as soon as possible, hopefully in the next couple of days or so. But I'll get that confirmation done. Because it is Monday, it doesn't mean that I'm in the office this morning, so it's going to be a quicker show than usual. And I've already spent 3 minutes of it talking to you guys about that. So let's talk about the news, shall we? Chelsea drew with Liverpool yesterday in a perfect result for Arsenal. More of these, please. I really do think that that was the best thing that we could have had on the day. I think come the end of the season, we'll look at that as probably a good result. That both of them ended up dropping points, and Arsenal have already taken a lead ahead of both of them. So certainly that was a good result for Arsenal. Some interesting, obviously, points of the game, seeing Szoboszlai turn out, Disasi scoring for Chelsea, of course, as well. Diaz looks like he's back as well. So lots of really interesting things. And it was an interesting game, to say the least. 2 goals disallowed by VAR as well. So plenty going on. And the Premier League is now fully underway. Manchester United will round things off against Wolves. And it will be Arsenal next week that round things off for the second game week when they travel to Crystal Palace on the Monday as well. Now, Chelsea have agreed a £150 million deal to sign Caicedo. And the question that I think a lot of fans of other clubs mainly are asking is, how can this happen? How is this happening? How is it that Chelsea are able to spend this amount of money? 8-year contract with an option of a 9th. Now, it should be said that I have done some more digging into this. So the misconception I had was that apparently 8-year contracts can indeed be offered. You can offer 8-year deals still to players within the national confines that you're able to, and the Premier League allows for those 8-year contracts, or rather England allows for those 8-year contracts in the FA, I assume. But the amortization of that £115 million is not going to be over those 8 years. It will be over 5 years, because that is the maximum length that a deal can be amortized over. Now, it's also worth saying that if they successfully agree a new contract for Caicedo at any point and extend that deal, believe it or not, it can then be amortized over the length of the extended contract. So that's also worth bearing in mind. So for the moment, they're amortizing it over 5 years, but it could be in a situation where we find ourselves having an extension of that deal to amortize it further. It's chaotic, it's messy, and I'm hoping that we see some recompense for these dealings. I spoke to Matt Turner after the game against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. I spoke to him about kind of how he viewed his spell at the club, and he said, yeah, it was always a good stepping stone for my career to play for Arsenal, to be at the Arsenal. It helped me to become a member of one of the national teams and become the number one for them as well, and play in the World Cup, and that was always the goal. And now I found myself playing in the Premier League at another club. You always kind of got to get over here, get your foot in the door, and find what's right. And today I felt really good. I asked him, of course, with David Raya coming in through the door, what advice he would give to Raya, considering he'd be going up against Ramsdale. And he said, work hard. It's not going to be easy. No matter how well you train, make the most of your opportunities, I guess. But Aaron's a really great goalkeeper, but I guess also the culture. You need to understand the culture of being at Arsenal. You need to be able to push, but also support. And I think that's something that I did really well. I was pushing, but I was also there to support not only Aaron, but the best of the team, the rest of the team as well. And certainly, I think that he was able to do that, Matt Turner. And now we have certainly a player in Raya who is going to bring real competition to Aaron Ramsdale. And I'm certainly excited to see what he can do. It wasn't just Matt Turner that I spoke to, though. I was also privileged enough to be able to catch Takahiro Tomiyasu, whose English is still coming on and still improving. I asked him a difficult question, it's fair to say. I asked him to kind of talk about his injury situation and where he kind of feels in himself. And there was a really long pause after I asked the question, as he really kind of thought about the answer and how to word it. And so I pressed him again and said, out of 10, like, how would you rate your fitness levels out of 10? And he says, I don't know, it can be better. I never say 10. I think I feel 100%. I never say 10. But I'm feeling good. And I think that there was almost fear in his voice when he spoke about that injury. Fear that I think that there might be, that he fears that there might be more injuries down the line. And I think from speaking to him, and it's very difficult to kind of put that across in writing, I did the best to apply the context I could around the article, is that I think that there is always this fear in players that once they've had a really serious injury, that they could find themselves experiencing another one. And I got that sense from Tommy when speaking to him on Saturday. So hopefully he can get over this, can get to full fitness. And Saliba himself was also talking about with the Arsenal media that he was kind of still not 100%, but kind of getting back there. So, yeah, I really hope that Tomiyasu can get back to full fitness and provide us with everything that we need. Balogun talked about this and is being talked about as a potential replacement for, guess who? Harry Kane. And I will say that you should be taking this report with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Gazzetta dello Sport, Calcio Mercato has been speaking and reporting their interest supposedly in Balogun. So salt shakers at the ready, people. But apparently Tottenham Hotspur are interested in signing Folarin Balogun as a replacement for Harry Kane. There was very little expanded upon in the article besides Balogun being named as a potential candidate to replace Kane, amongst other players like Vlahovic, for instance, and Lukaku, Taremi also mentioned as well. But yeah, I think that it would be very, very strange of Arsenal to allow Spurs to get hold of a very exciting young player. I just cannot see that one happening. But stranger things, I suppose, have indeed happened. And lastly, Newcastle are said to still be keen on Kieran Tierney, but it is only for a loan deal at the moment that could be including an obligation to buy at the end of that loan. Reports coming out from the Telegraph suggesting that Tierney is of interest to Newcastle. They're also looking at Marc Cucurella as an option as well. I know that a lot of people aren't a fan of a potential loan deal. It may be the best option for Arsenal to get a good deal financially in a year's time. It might be to help Newcastle with financial fair play as well. But let's wait and see. Arsenal want a permanent exit. They're trying to get a permanent move at a very good price. So let's wait and see what happens with Kieran Tierney. But at the moment, no movement, but we'll wait and give you any updates as and when it comes. Now, there is, of course, with it being a live show, yeah, it is live, but it's being a Monday show. This is a shorter one. So we're going to move to part 2. We're going to tackle some of your questions, but it's only going to be about 5 minutes. So we're going to go lightning round on those. So get your questions in. Let's go. Right then. Okay, so part 2. Questions from the chat. In the next 5 minutes or less, can we do it? Pennyween says, what's the best hangover cure? I don't know, but I don't need one. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm pretty surprised, but I'm feeling pretty darn good this morning. It must be the buoyancy of all the love and support you guys brought to us yesterday, but it was an amazing evening. When is the next one? We don't know. We were talking about it after the show. We're talking about live shows and what we might do in the future, but we're not going to leave it so long to do another one. It was like a year since the one we did with Mike. Of course, I did one in Chicago earlier this year, courtesy of Mike and the Chicago Gooners as well. But I'd love to be able to do another one maybe towards Christmas time to try and get more people. Maybe doing it on a Friday or a Saturday rather than a Sunday. But certainly I'm looking forward to doing another one because it was an unbelievable day and evening and really, really, really enjoyable. If anyone had any questions about the event, please do not hesitate to drop me a message at the Gooner Talk TV, at the Gooner Talk. If you had any questions about last night, please do drop me a message. Thomas says, do you know any more about the Timber injury? No, we have not heard or been briefed or anything else at this stage, sadly. Kenny says, is Kieran Tierney really that bad that we have to sell him? He's not really that bad. No, it's not about being bad or good. It's about how you fit into what is being expected of that position. And he just doesn't seem to fit what Arteta wants from that role. And that is stopping him, I think, from getting maybe the amount of minutes that people think he deserves. Jay says, what are your Premier League predictions? I've always said City to win the league because I think they're the best team in the country, but Arsenal to challenge them better, hopefully, than we did last season. Relegation-wise, Luton, Sheffield United, and Wolves or West Ham, I think have got to be up there as potential candidates as well. Lynn, you're very, very welcome. And I'm glad that you're able to make it and come to the event. It was great to see you and everybody else as well. John suggests a banana honey milkshake works every time for hangover as well. I've not heard that one before, but John, sounds beautiful. Maximir says, hey, Tom, looking at the way Chelsea are preparing for tomorrow, how scared should we be of their project and what is their ceiling that you expect? I think you always have to be wary, but also measured in your approach to looking at a team like Chelsea. It's very difficult to not be concerned about the amount of money that's being spent at that club because they are seemingly shackleless, if you like. They are not restricted in any way and still find themselves in a position where they can spend £150 million. After all the talk was they need to sell, they've sold really, really well. They've made loads of money this summer, but they've still made a loss in regards to investment with Caicedo coming in. So it is going to be kind of crazy to see how this one transpires. But their ceiling is very high, and they should be looking to compete for a title, considering how much money has been spent. If they finish outside the top four, they've had a horrific season. A horrific season if they finish outside the top four. So let's see what ends up happening. Let's go to Lee says, Tom, what's your feeling on the Thomas Partey right-back experiment? We looked unbalanced. I didn't think we looked unbalanced in the first half. I thought we looked dominant in the first half. I think we looked really fluid. I thought Ben White running up the right flank, overlapping, Saka at times, Partey moving centrally. I thought we really dominated the game. I think it was in the second half Arteta needed to be maybe a little bit, you could argue, I suppose, more proactive in making a change, maybe bringing on Gabriel sooner, especially when we lost Timber. Thought maybe we could have changed things a little bit more, but overall I was really happy with how we played and how we structured, and I think there was a big overreaction actually maybe to the performance. I saw a lot of negative comments on yesterday's video. I wasn't able to respond to many yesterday, but saw a lot of negative comments about the performance overall and Havertz in particular, as I would expect. But last night it was great to do we did a little experiment, and we did a cheer if you thought Havertz's performance was good or decent or positive. And there wasn't a single person that shouted for the opposite. All the cheers came in support of Havertz, and there wasn't a single cheer in the opposite direction, which I think maybe goes to show the difference between the online view and, the in-person view, if you like. I think there are differences between the two. Fuad says, surely this is the week we start seeing players leave. This week, next week, just before the window closes. And that's, I think, what Arsenal can hope for. So, yeah, hopefully we see some movements on the outside. Nick says, any thoughts on the Ansu Fati links? None, I'm afraid. I don't think Arsenal will move for him. I could be proven wrong, but I can't see it happening. But I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to see Arsenal do a risk and go for someone like Ansu Fati. That would be great. Super Pochettino, a Chelsea fan in the chat box, says, I'm thrilled with the Caicedo signing, but UEFA FFP, considering we get top 4 this season, worries me a lot. And I would be worried, Matt. I would be worried about that. I think there's a reason to be worried. You just got to hope that the people at your club are doing things in the right way. And we don't know. We do not know if they are. So there's a lot of questions that need to be asked to Chelsea, but thank you for joining and being respectful in the chat box. That's what I appreciate. We have resident Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United fans sometimes drop into the chat, and it's always great to see people coming and put genuine questions into the chat as rival fans. So thank you for that. Rich says, Tom, do you see another in if a few players leave? Yes, I've always felt that maybe there could be one more. Let's wait and see if that turns out to be the case. Right, I said it was going to be a shorter show because I'm jumping on a train to get to the office this morning, and it is indeed that. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you did miss it earlier on the show, do tell me if you think Morgie's representation of me is somehow lifelike. I think it's brilliant. But thank you, everyone that came to the event last night. It was unbelievably fun. And as I said earlier, I hope that we can do another one. I'm hoping to get a best bits package out for you. I'm going to speak to Gabriel and see if we can get that sorted so you guys can see some of the insights from the show. And I hope that we can do another good one as well in the future. Thank you to everybody that's tuning in and listening. I'll be back at 10 a.m. On the Arsenal Way from Canary Wharf. So I'm hoping to get you a show over on the Arsenal Way. And tonight, I think, is the return of the Arsenal Lounge this evening. So stay tuned for that. Myself, Lev, Mo, hopefully jumping on to have a chat about all things Arsenal this evening on a Monday as the Arsenal Lounge returns too. So yes, lovely stuff. Thank you, people. Really appreciate your time. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, up the Arsenal.